Me and my husband have been together for 22 years, married for 15. We have 3 children, 9F, 7M and 3M. My husband is autistic. I can't tell to what degree or what spectrum, as he has just started going to a psychologist to learn more about it. However, because of it, my husband may react or behave not like other people would. Also, he had a very rough childhood, living on the verge of poverty with an alcoholic father. My husband was a very attentive and loving person the first few years of our relationship. He could listen to me for hours, would always compliment me and make me feel like I am the best person he has ever met. I will be honest, he was the first person in my life who would actually listen to me. He was also a very calm person, unlike me. Whenever I would get scared or nervous, he would always explain everything with pure logic and no emotions, which always calmed me down almost instantly. He was my rock, the person I felt safe with. In return, I did my best to make his life better. I always encouraged and supported him, and I tried to be as caring as possible. Also, my husband is dyslexic, so even talking in our native language can be hard for him. For that reason, when we moved to a different country together, I took on all the administrative tasks for both of us, which was a lot living in a foreign country. I also took on the majority of our home tasks, cooking, cleaning, laundry, groceries, as his love was enough to compensate for it. It started going downhill rapidly in 2015. I don't want to go into too much detail as this post would get enormously long, so in short, I was pregnant and working on a demanding job, and my husband was to be deported. It was the hardest and scariest time for both me and my husband. I did everything I could to make him stay at least till the child was born, but the day after I returned from the hospital with a newborn, he had to leave. So I had to take care of a newborn and work, because now we only had one income, while doing everything to secure my husband's stay in the country. Eventually, we found a way for him to return legally. I was hoping once he would be back permanently, things would get better. But they never did. Ever since that time, my husband became distant and inattentive. He stopped listening to me and didn't want to spend any time together. He also became even more emotional than me, especially in the matters about our kids. If I could count on him being a calm oasis in my emotional storms before, now he would get even more emotional than me in almost every situation. Also, he was only responsible for going to work, mostly without any overtime, and sometimes looking after the children, but everything else was on me. I was working as well, and doing about 90% of childcare, 100% of all family administration, documents, appointments, bills, etc., and almost 100% of housework. I was exhausted and didn't know what to do. I came to my husband to ask for help for the first time about half a year after our daughter was born. I was crying and pleading for him to take on more responsibilities, at least at home, to make it easier for me. His response, nothing. Literally nothing. He just shrugged and walked away from me without saying a word. Nothing was changed after that. Nothing extra was done from his side. I was shocked and heartbroken by this, but I couldn't think properly because of the exhaustion and sleep deprivation. So I thought maybe it would become better with just a little more time. However, it never did. And after we had more kids, which I do understand now was a very stupid decision based on the state I was in, I had to come to him for help 2 more times. But the result was the same. Say nothing, shrug, and leave. I was shocked and heartbroken each time. I tried to talk to him on other occasions, but he just ignored me when I tried to talk about our problems. I tried to understand why he is like this, and the only conclusion I could come up with was that he can't handle the stress the way I do. So I thought maybe if I could make his life easier somehow, the loving and caring man I fell in love with would come back. So I focused on my job and tried to find a way to increase my salary while potentially decreasing the workload. And I was able to do so in 2024. I got a new job with a significant pay raise and more flexible hours. Because of it, we could finally afford to take a loan to do renovations in our apartment, and I took some extra money with it, so that my husband could take a year off work to stay at home. I know it may sound like a stupid decision, but I desperately wanted to try and see if it could help us bring our good relationship back. Also, he has said many times previously that he would rather be a stay-at-home parent. and he never expressed any ambition to build a career, even though I asked him to think about it. Well, even though my husband could finally stay at home and dedicate plenty of time to himself while kids are at school, just kindergarten, 8 hours a day, our relationship didn't change. Moreover, even though he became a stay-at-home parent, I was still the main person doing the chores or doing different activities with the kids. I could understand why bills, documents, and other administrative stuff would still be with me. But we have talked with him about taking more responsibilities at home, as he had more free time now. To which he said he didn't know he needed to do stuff even when dishes and laundry were piling up, or he couldn't walk properly in our apartment due to the toys being everywhere, etc. It all basically fell apart for me in January this year. During the hard times, the only thing that helped me push through was music. There was one artist in particular who basically saved me. So when I accidentally discovered that that artist is going on his first world tour this year and there are already no tickets available in Europe, I will be honest, I became hysterical. I was not yelling or shouting. I just became really emotional, trying to hold back tears but also focused, trying to find any available tickets from the resellers. I can agree that I may have looked ridiculous being an almost 40-year-old woman crying over the concert, but for me it was something very important. So what did my husband do seeing me like this? He started laughing at me. Moreover, he started doing it so openly that my kids started laughing while pointing their fingers at me too. At that moment, something just snapped in me. For 9 years he ignored me when I was at my lowest, and now, seeing me upset, made him laugh. 22 years of me loving and thinking only about this man just vanished. I didn't react at that moment. I waited a few days before I could collect my thoughts and tried to explain to him that it made me very upset. He did apologize half-heartedly, explaining that everybody would have reacted this way, seeing me in such a state, and that he didn't know what that artist meant to me. The problem is, he would have known it if he would have talked to me at least once in the last 5 to 6 years. I have lost all faith and trust in my husband, and I have been in a horrible state ever since. I did confess to him that I lost all love for him at the end of February, and I was honestly expecting him to just leave me and the kids. But he surprised me by saying that he wants to try and work through it. We started going to couples therapy, and he gradually started doing more chores, so we split it almost 50-50. He started spending time with the kids and going for walks with them, and started giving me enough time to devote to my health. I also learned that the reason why he reacted to my pleas for help the way he did is because that was his stress coping mechanism that he gained during childhood. He would basically just shut everything out and react to nothing until the storm passes. So during the times I was asking for help, I was nothing more than a background noise for him. However, even after learning all of it and him starting to contribute more to our family, I still can't bring back my love for him. As I have said, one of the important things for me was him listening to me and actually hearing what I am saying. When I tried to explain to him that I really need it, he told me that he doesn't want to talk to me anymore because I'm an old book that he has nothing new to read in. When I tried to raise this issue in the therapy session, both my husband and the therapist told me that our relationship will never be the way it was at the beginning. And that made me lose all hope. Honestly, I tried to fall in love with my husband again, and I would be glad if I just could do it on demand. But I can't. I don't love him. I don't trust him. And when I ask for the things I need to feel better, I am told they are not possible. However, I feel guilty about leaving my husband because he basically became completely dependent on me. So divorcing him is like leaving a child alone. He lost both of his parents less than 3 years ago, so he doesn't have any other home to go to. I do understand that he became like this living with me, so basically I made him hopeless, and now I am to leave him. He was a loving, caring and supportive man, so maybe there is still hope that he can become that man again and I will be able to fall in love with him again. He is not a cheater. He is not abusive, so it feels like not a valid enough reason to want to leave. So now I don't know what is the right thing to do. Should I just leave because I don't love him and I haven't been in love with him for almost 10 months now? Or is it just a hard patch all families go through and I just need to suck it up and push through like I always do? Or is it a midlife crisis and I just need to wait till my brain goes back to normal? I am also scared that if I leave it would mean that the last 22 years of my life were just a mistake, and I have given all this time for nothing.